What's up people, welcome along to Arsenal Fan TV, and that's the exact kind of performance I wanted to see from Arsenal this evening. The final score being 2-0 against Borussia Dortmund. Absolutely solid performance, great result, and just focusing away from the group stage for one moment, this result, moreover than anything, is hopefully going to see an end to that torrid run of form that we've been on and be more of a confidence barrier than anything. Hopefully we can build on this, hopefully we can push on, go into that game against West Brom, get a win there. I mean, if we can beat Dortmund at home, hopefully we can get a win against West Brom. Then we've got Southampton, hopefully we can go on a little run. But, you know, if Anderlecht were to beat Borussia Dortmund on the last day of the group stage, I mean, going out on a bit of a win there, there's a lot up at stake. There's a lot for stake, and if we just play with that kind of mentality in that game against Galatasaray, get the win there as well, it could potentially be an exciting end to the group stage for us. But realistically, I think we're going to finish second. I think we've done well to qualify this evening. Really, we're happy with how the team performed. Not really a lot of negatives to say. I think we responded really well to the couple of poor results that we've had, and it was kind of exactly the same performance that we had against Manchester United the weekend, except that we were a lot more clinical. Focusing on the team lineup first of all, the only real change that we saw was Yaya Sonogo coming in for Danny Welbeck, which initially I was a bit quizzical about, but I can understand why we put him there. I know a lot of fans were calling for Lucas Podolski, but I think it has to be said that realistically, Sonogo's movement in front of goal and in front of the wingers that he's got provided by Alexis Sanchez, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Cazorla in behind him, I certainly think Sonogo, was the more sensible option as he makes more runs, he's got a lot more movement, he's a lot more fluid, and he fits into our style of game a lot better than Podolski does. But when Podolski came on, in fairness to him, I thought he had an okay game, but he was on the pitch for only about 10-15 minutes, so I'm not going to judge on him too quickly. So we started this game really quickly, similarly to the game that we did against Manchester United, like I just said, and we were very clinical with our first chance, coming through Yaya Sonogo. Excellent work by him, a goal created by the man himself. I think it was a throw-in by Callum Chambers over to Sonogo, controlled and held the ball really well. He muscled off about 2 or 3 people around him, played the ball to Cazorla. Cazorla with a delicately passed ball into Sonogo, and then a lovely finish through Weidenfeller's legs. Really deserved that goal considering the build-up he had to do to get it. Great work by Cazorla as well, who I think was... Cazorla got 2 assists tonight. He got the assist for the Sonogo goal, and then the later on Alexis Sanchez goal, in the right places at the right time. I was really happy for him to get that goal, and hopefully we'll see a couple of more good performances from him as he continues to play in that number 10 role, in behind the strikers, and when he's provided with players on the wings such as Alexis Sanchez and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain as well, another player that was absolutely formidable tonight. Had an excellent opportunity to score in the latter stages of the game in that second half with an effort that kind of replicated the goal that Alexis Sanchez scored at Barcelona. That just touching the ball down and catching it on the volley. Superb effort by him, but not dwindling on that too much. Getting that early goal, that's what really settled it for us. And what I was glad to see from Arsenal was that we didn't overcommit following that goal. We were very resolute. I think Arteta was really at the heart of that. He dictated our midfield, had a very good defensive performance, and it's a bit of a shame to see him go off in the later stage of the game through what could be a potential serious injury, but hopefully it won't be too much, because I think he dictated the game really well, and he's certainly been doing that quite well for the amount of time he's been on the pitch for us in recent games. However, I think age is having an effect on him. That's why he's picking up all these niggles, but hopefully it won't be a serious thing, because we're going to need him in the team at some point. But I mean, when Flamini came on, he was again someone that I thought... I'm not Flamini's biggest fan by any means, but when he was on the pitch, what he did everything right, he did everything he had to do, and he certainly didn't make us overcommit, which is something I felt he was maybe a little bit guilty of when we threw away the game against Anderlecht. And I mean, if we'd have won that game against Anderlecht, just looking at that very briefly, I mean, there would have been a lot more at stake going into this this game against Borussia Dortmund, and this win would have been even more fantastic, because it would have meant that we were on level points with Borussia Dortmund, and that game at the end would have been incredibly exciting. So you know, I'm still happy with qualification today, and that goal from Sonogo really summed up an interesting performance from us. Certainly a solid performance, a resolute game on our behalf. Although Borussia Dortmund did have their chances, I mean, that has to be expected. They've got amazing players going forward in Mkhitaryan and Aubameyang, Immobile, etc. But we kept them relatively quiet. I thought Monreal certainly had a good game at centre-half. Mertesacker was a little bit indifferent. I think he really made up for some of the errors he made in the game, because there were times when he did make errors. He made some very poor clearances, some haphazard balls at times, but he did make up from Emiliano Martinez as well in goal. Was absolutely superb tonight. I certainly think he was one of the standout players, especially as it was a big game that he was being thrown into. It was a good performance from him, and our fullbacks were absolutely superb tonight. Both Callum Chambers and Kieran Gibbs were absolutely outstanding on both flanks. So you know, that defence, it was good, and it's good to have Koscielny back in the side, and hopefully we'll be a bit more stable in the defensive department from now on. But I think a lot of credit certainly has to go to Nacho Monreal. Hopefully this will be the end of seeing him play the centre-back, but a lot of praise has to go his way this evening. For he had a very good game, and during the time that he's had to play at centre-back, certainly he's done the job to a relatively good standard. So after the Sonogo goal, we kind of dominated possession, as you would expect, up until half-time. Second half, Dortmund came out and they knew they had to play their game to get back into the match, as it were. That's exactly what they did. They were on top of the game for a little bit more, but we held our line incredibly well, played the offside trap really well. We were very solid, very resolute, and we didn't overcommit, which is something that we've been very guilty of in previous games. And we weren't caught on the counter. We kept the likes of Aubameyang, etc., very quiet. And any pace in their side, we just counteracted. And we were the ones playing on the counter, really. And we got that lovely goal midway through the second half through Alexis Sanchez. Great ball by Santi Cazorla. You know, a ball over to the side to Alexis Sanchez. Sheer brilliant individual goal by him. The audacity to have that shot is absolutely incredible. I mean, this guy is absolutely insane. Words can't describe quite how good he is, and I'm so relieved that we've got a player of this quality in the side. He certainly deserved that goal. His work ethic was absolutely sublime, and I think a player that also deserved a goal was Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Like I said earlier, had that great effort in the second half. It was a shame that didn't go in, but he was certainly another player that we could take a lot of positives from tonight. A lot of individuals played really well. I think Aaron Ramsey as well, although he wasn't a standout player, he certainly wasn't replicating the kind of games he had last season. He did up at that extra level. He certainly has played a lot better than he has in previous games. He certainly played a lot better than that game against United, and it's good to see him kind of stepping up to the mark, taking his game seriously, and he's simplifying it a bit. I mean, he played a lot more defensively today, although he did try to get on the score sheet at times, as you would expect from him. He was very resolute in the defensive department, and hopefully that will continue on his behalf. And he's going to really need to step up, considering the absence of Jack Wilshere. But this is a fantastic result, confidence-wise. I mean, we can go into that game against West Brom, hopefully get a win there, go on a run of results, and, you know, we could salvage something from this season. I mean, the title, in my opinion, well, realistically, it is over. I think you've got a very far-fetched mind if you think that there is still a chance of us winning this title. But who knows, we could have a good second half of the season, a top 4 finish, retain the FA Cup, and having a decent Champions League run. I mean, there are still positives to take out of this season, but please don't let me come across like I'm excusing the previous games that we've just had, because the loss to United, the loss to Swansea, and the draw with Anderlecht were all horrific results, and effectively they cost us massively. But, you know, if we can rectify it in this sense, I mean, if we go on a run of games, there are still positives that could be taken, but those 3 fixtures especially have cost us, and they've thrown a lot of good opportunities away for us, especially having a decent Premier League challenge. So those would be my thoughts. I don't want to look at the negatives tonight. I mean, we've got to look at the positives. We've got to enjoy these Champions League nights whilst we've got them. I can't criticise a single player, which is always a positive in these videos, and I'm going to wrap it up on that note. So guys, if you've enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a like rating, subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV, check out my own channel, AFC Game by Game, and as always, thank you for watching, guys.
We're here at Arsenal, the greatest football club in the world, and Arsenal Fan TV have teamed up with Football Fanager to give you this. You can win yourself this signed Arsenal shirt